My name is Reda Riddle-Bigler. I'm a Deputy Chief for the Phoenix Fire Department. I am the class of 1991 from Barry Goldwater High School. I went to middle school at Deer Valley Middle School, and then I attended Park Meadows was my elementary school. Going back to when I started at Park Meadows, Mr. Iannone is the teacher that sticks out to me, and I think he was still around even up to a couple years ago. Very influential. He was my basketball coach, and I was always an athlete, so those are a lot of my memories come from playing sports. I was zoned to go to Barry Goldwater. As a matter of fact, I laugh because I have since moved into my old neighborhood. I live a quarter mile of the house that I grew up in, and it was just dirt lots where American Express and all the shopping malls, sit now. But you could see Goldwater from our backyard. I was a three-sport athlete when I attended Goldwater High School, and going back to talking about teachers, I would have to say that my most influential teacher there was Shane Lehman. He was my volleyball coach. He was my track coach, and of course, I talk a lot about sports, but I think athletics held me accountable. One of the things I always tell my kids that I think that I learned from my past is that we don't remember the teachers or the coaches that let us get away with things, that didn't, try to push us and challenge us. And so I think of the people in my life that are most influential to me, and maybe back then I didn't like them, but that's because they were trying to push me and make me better. They were teaching me accountability, responsibility, to be on time, to be respectful, to learn how to lose. And you always hear this, right? We always tell kids as they leave high school and they graduate, you're going to go into the big bad world. And probably the biggest takeaway, and I use it as a coach, I use it as a mom, as a mentor, and I say that nobody will ever take care of you like they do when you're in high school. Because when you get into college, right, they don't care if you show up to class, and coaches will take your scholarship away and things like that. And so I think that while many students can easily say, they don't like high school, well, nothing replicates that in your entire life. So I think there's something to value there. I tell my kids that all the time, quite often, and it comes because that's how I felt. Like, I know how they feel. Like, I don't want to go to school. I don't like this. I don't like so-and-so. But those people are who shape our society. When I graduated in 1991 from Barry Goldwater, I went on to Glendale Community College, and I had a scholarship over there for volleyball, and then I ran track, where I went on to become a heptathlete, competing in 7 events. I went from GCC, I spent 2 years there, and then I went on to Western New Mexico. In 1995, I graduated from college. I came back to the Valley from New Mexico, and then Kim Ulrichs, I can't forget her. While she was at Deer Valley, she was also, she taught at Barry Goldwater. So I had a relationship with her. She knew I was back. She was going to retire from Deer Valley High School volleyball, where she'd spent many, many years. She was the coach when I was the player, and recruited me over there. So I became the head volleyball coach at Deer Valley High School, and I was there for 9 years. Coaching is definitely the highlight of my life. It's probably the one thing that anything that I can do, I have a couple things that I do in my profession now that really go back to being a coach, goes back to being a mentor. You kind of live vicariously through these kids. I think it's much like being a teacher. The things you do and the influences you have, sometimes you don't have any idea on the impact until they circle back and they say something to you. And I get little things all the time, and it just reminds me that is exactly, because you don't coach for the money. It takes a lot of time. I love to be the coach that did a lot of extra things, to inspire, to motivate, just to try to be impactful. Oh gosh, that's why you coach. That's why you teach, right? When I got in the fire department, it was 2000, and I was a coach, and I was coaching some firemen's kids, and they came by. We were actually practicing at the Goldwater gym, and I was standing up in the balcony watching, them scrimmage back and forth, and they stood up there and talked to me and said, "Hey, have you ever thought about being in the fire department?" And I said, I haven't given any thought, and I like to stay in shape. I'm an athlete. I like to challenge myself. I like, competition. So that kind of started my quest to be a firefighter. I've been on the job now for 22 years. I was a firefighter, I was an engineer, drove the truck, I was a captain, I was a battalion chief, and then now I am a deputy chief. I'm the central, I know my shirt says district commander, but I'm the central district commander responsible for the downtown area. You know, high-rise buildings, mid-rise buildings, the zone, the homeless population. Some of those things are the things that kind of sit in my area that I'm responsible for. If somebody wouldn't have tapped me on the shoulder and said, hey, have you ever thought about? I always share that with people, like just to give them the thought and the consideration. Sometimes we don't consider those things. We just don't feel like we're cut out. But that's because we don't have all the information. So another lesson that struck me, you know, if nobody would have did that, I wouldn't be a firefighter. My advice for students would be that nothing emulates high school. Like, who likes to get up at 6:30 in the morning, 5 days a week, you know, and go to school and do the same thing? But there's something to value in it, and nothing is like high school. I say get involved, go to football games, go to events, do extracurricular activities, you know, keep your mind sharp, have fun, meet new people. Those are the things that make, you know, you've got the rest of your life to work. You've got the rest of your life to worry about finances. You know, go all in for school would be my advice.